This is bad comedy.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Saladino. Someone on Reddit posted this image of Suicide Squad kills the Justice League's alternate universe version of Mr. Freeze and was like, this has to be sabotage. That the devs at Rocksteady are purposely sabotaging this game. Because you can't look at this image and think anybody was serious about this. Because what is this supposedly doing for anybody? So on the one hand, you have game design, game development. You have developers who want to sell a game, and this is a live service game. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a live service game. The whole idea behind a live service game is that you want players to keep coming back to it, to keep playing it, to be engaged with it. But if you're designing characters that look like this, so Sweet Baby Inc., their fingerprints are all over this game. We know that. This is the whole reason why the Steam detected list came out, why we have this Gamergate 2.0, which I still don't call it Gamergate 2.0 because it serves the journos who are trying to push men out of their own hobbies. So you've got game development and you've got the activists. And how does this work for any side? So on the game development side, simply on the game development side, sure, you could talk about a lot of the good people who used to be at Rocksteady who are responsible for the Arkham trilogy or the quadrilogy if you add Batman or Arkham Origins. You have those people, all those people left. But incompetence is one thing, and we know that there were incompetent people working on this game. But incompetence is one thing, but you don't have to be Hideo Kojima to look at this image of Mr. Freeze, Ma'am Freeze, whatever you want to call this person, this entity. You don't have to be Hideo Kojima to say this is not going to appeal to anyone. This is not appealing. This is not going to bring people back. This is not going to save the game for one. And before the game even came out, if you knew this is how the person was going to look, who do you think was going to, and I know it's DLC. I don't know if this is paid DLC or this is just, it's a part of the, I guess, battle pass. I don't know how it works. What did they think was going to happen when they put this out, when they released this? Did they think people are going to be, oh man, this version of Mr. Freeze looks sick? like what is this doing as a developer? You design this. You want people to play your game. The idea, a lot of times, you look at superhero characters, supervillains, and they become part of the pop culture where Hollywood's going to adapt a film. Usually what they do is they try to make them look cooler, hipper, better for a modern audience, not look as fanciful and whimsical and like silly as they do in actual comics. And that's the thing about comic books, superhero comic books in particular. Those of us who read comic books, we understand that there's an inherent absurdity about it. But that's one of the things that's appealing about it. We understand that a guy dressed up like a bat is ridiculous, but it's also cool. Great artists, great writers. It's engaging. It's fun. Life isn't just this rigid 9-to-5 type thing. All kinds of fanciful, amazing, ridiculous elements are in it. Just look at your dreams. So, but when Hollywood was adapting these stories, most of the time, they were trying to do them straight and serious, especially after Dark Knight Returns. So after Dark Knight Returns came out and people wanted to take comic books and superheroes more seriously, they started trying to approach it as more dark and grim and gritty. It went too far. So I'm saying that to say, if you're trying to, as a designer, as a game developer, you're like, okay, comic books are silly and ridiculous. So Mr. Freeze, the original Mr. Freeze, he doesn't really look that cool. Right? But he does look cool. He looks menacing and interesting and whatever. But say you're a developer and you don't think he looks cool. So you go, I'm going to improve on the Mr. Freeze design. And this is what you come up with? Big Boo? Asian Big Boo. Like this butch lesbian. I don't understand just right now on the game developer side of things. If you're just a regular game developer, your mission is to design a character that's going to capture the imagination of the player, have the player come back, think the player looks cool, think the player looks scary, think the character looks interesting. Why would you design your version of Mr. Freeze where the person looks like somebody who Odin's Men or Cringe Panda would make fun of?
It's a tragedy. I just made that word up. I did!
what's the other girl? Is it Misha Petrov? I think her name is. This Mr. Freeze or Ma'am Freeze or whatever character looks like she'd be a part of. I'm struggling because I don't even know what her pronouns are. I don't care about pronouns, but I genuinely don't know. She looks like she has no boobs, but she also looks like she has a dick. Her head and face looks like a butch lesbian, but it could just be a large foreheaded Asian man. I don't understand though, but my thing is this person looks like a clown. Not like the Joker, not like Pennywise, but someone who belongs in one of these cringe TikTok compilations. Somebody that, YouTube will demonetize you for featuring on one of your YouTube videos. Like, what does this do for you as a game developer to create this version of Mr. Freeze? Do you really think that the average gamer, if you're thinking about this game needs to make a lot of money, it's a live service game, we know what our male-dominated audience likes and expects. Putting this as a part of your next DLC, season upload, whatever this is supposed to be. Who do you think is going to go to this and go, yeah, this is great, I want to play this? And who's going to be making gifs of this seriously and saying, this is a badass character, this looks great? I feel like I'd be depressed if I was a developer. Like, forget all this stuff about layoffs and all this other stuff. It's just you're sitting at your computer or whatever at your desk and you're designing characters that look like this. And my thing is, again, if you're talking about just game development, there's no way that unless you're trying to sabotage Warner Brothers, that you would design this character and think that this is going to go over with your customer base. There's not enough people. So if now we got to combine game development with representation, with Sweet Baby Inc. being involved, because I'm like, even on the representation side, Big Boo, the actors who play Big Boo would look at this and go, oh, great. The next Batman film they make, if Mr. Freeze is in it, I'm going to tell my agent to have me audition because I can see myself playing this role. But when it comes to seeing yourself, this idea of representation in video games or in comic books and geek entertainment, that isn't a thing. This is something that activists created because they are angry at the fact that there are so many popular straight white male characters in popular fiction. And instead of just saying, hey, look, it's time to add our creativity to things, they just go, no, we need to tear that down because it's giving straight white men too much power. It's making them feel too privileged that they, it's time for us to see ourselves as Spider-Man or as, I don't know, Mr. Freeze. But my thing is, if you're talking about this as seeing yourselves, besides the actress who plays Big Boo from Orange is the New Black, who else is going to see themselves in this? There's plenty of butch lesbians out there, I know. But how many of them are playing video games? How many of them are going to look at this Ma'am Freeze character and go, yeah, that's me. I see myself in this. This is making me feel great about myself. And my thing is, I wouldn't, even if I was just a butch lesbian, I wouldn't look at this character. Besides, like I said, if I was the actress Big Boo, I would be like, okay, good. I'm going to go for Mr. Freeze the next time there's a Batman movie that will feature that character. But anybody else, I'd just be like, this person looks ridiculous. And just not think about it. And there are, people who are part of the LGBTQ community on Tumblr and Twitter who will see this and just think it's funny because they know that straight white men are going to be like, this character looks ridiculous. But I don't know how much you can get off of people laughing at you. Because nobody's going to be mad looking at this. People just going, this is ridiculous. This is why there's a Sweet Baby Steam detected list in the first place. Because of stuff like this. You can't just hire them to help you with narrative problems, which is stupid anyway. If you're a skilled writer, you come up with that yourself. You do that in-house. But if you go to these narrative designers and they suddenly go, well, yeah, I see that you have Mr. Freeze, but why not make it an Asian character instead? Why not make it a woman or a transgender or a lesbian? And then you go, okay, sure, let's do that. How many people, even on the representation side, you can't believe that there's people who look like this person or just gay people, trans people in general, who will look at this version of Mr. Freeze and go, I finally see myself. I'm happy that other gamers get to see me in this stupid looking character. This is sabotage. This is what I mean. Okay, so sabotage. This is my whole thing about with Sweet Baby Inc. And they just use representation. The journals who talk about representation, people seeing themselves. This is just a cudgel to beat straight white men over the head with their political agenda. The agenda isn't for people to see themselves. The agenda isn't representation. The agenda is to destroy male spaces, to destroy male hobbies, to take something away from men, because they know nobody's going to come back to Suicide Squad looking at this stupid character. They already took Joker. Their alternate universe version of him is not just gay, even though I contend Joker is definitely gay, but he's out and out gay in this Suicide Squad game. And he's also disabled. It was something I didn't notice when I did that first video. I was talking about that trailer that showed their version of Joker. And I didn't even notice that he had a robot leg or a metal leg. So they made him gay and disabled because you got to get the disabled representation in there as well. They need to see themselves as gay Joker. I'm just befuddled, bewitched, bothered, and bewildered looking at this design because it doesn't serve the purpose of an actual game developer or Warner Brothers who wants to sell a live service game to the average player. And it doesn't work as representation because nobody in the LGBTQ community is going to look at this character and say, I feel so seen. This is, like I said, the people who don't care about video games will laugh because they know this is going to, quote unquote, piss the chuds off. It's owning the chuds. But they're not going to play it, so they're not supporting it. And the chuds aren't necessarily pissed off. The chuds think this is ridiculous. They're laughing at it and they say, I'm not wasting my money on this. They're glad to see this because they know it's going to further hurt Warner Brothers. I don't see Rocksteady. I said this in a video recently. I don't see Rocksteady getting out of this year without being laid off. Out of spite, Warner Brothers might keep them open. But for sure next year, they're going to be shut down. I don't see how they can pull themselves out of this hole. One of the reasons why I think that Warner Brothers has been pushing this live service thing is because, of course, the different companies that bought them and took on their debt, they're trying to find ways to make money. And this is the thing I don't understand. You're trying to make money. Gamers are telling you, we want this stuff to be done right. We want attractive women in it. We want cool dudes. We want straight, and I don't mean even sexuality, but just straight adaptations. Get the lore right. Make cool characters. Stop pandering to an audience that doesn't exist. If the modern audience existed, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League would be raking in the dough like Hogwarts Legacy is. And the funny thing is, Hogwarts Legacy was the biggest game of last year, but a lot of that has been negated thanks to stuff like this. It's a joke.
This is bad comedy.